Since the Yankee come to Trinidad, they got all the young girls going mad. Young girls say they treat them nice, make Trinidad like paradise. Drink 'em rum like Coca-Cola, go down Point Cumana, both mother and daughter, looking for the Yankee dollar.
Pieguy, we're back. Season 2.
Yes.
Season 2.
It is the day
CFL
before June.
Season. The day before June. Pouring our first rum and colas of the season. We're going to talk about some futures and share a lot of our intake based on the preseason, based on the off season. A lot of changes across the league. A lot of parity, a lot of shitty moves on some teams' perhaps. Let's get right into it. I want to talk about, well, first off, did you have a great offseason?
Yeah, it was pretty good. NHL was good. I can't remember how I can't remember how I ended the NFL. I mean, I had the Eagles, so there you go. Yeah, I mean, shouldn't have been. What was it? Eagles underdog. I mean, that was a bad number.
Horrible number.
All right. I mean, we ended the season well. The Grey Cup was very, very good. It was a rough start. The start last year was weird. Going into this season, I think there are 8 teams that have, legitimate cases that they could win the Grey Cup, and then there's the last team, which we'll talk about in a minute. But I think this, and with the whole political drama going on, I think this could be a really, really good CFL season. I heard a lot of people around, whether campus or work or just in the neighborhood, who are thinking about tuning into the CFL this season. So that's good news for the league, and hopefully we get lots of fans at BMO Field because that's obviously the lowest attended game every week, and it is there's 3 million people in Toronto. So
yeah. All right. Well, let's just jump right into it. Let's start with our good buddies in Alberta, the Calgary Stampeders. And let's talk about what this team did in the off season. I'm just going to pull up some of their additions as I just get this up here, just to give you a sense of what happened in the off season with this team. I can tell you this: the biggest acquisition, obviously, being the acquisition of a quarterback in Vernon Adams Jr. And then that's pretty much it in terms of what this team has done. I mean, they lost a lot of their defensive line and their offensive line as well. What do you think about this team's offseason?
Well, I like Ora Malade, Argos player. He was good.
Yeah.
Rhymes, obviously, with Vernon, they have chemistry. But, I mean, the wide receiver, you didn't need to add there. There's a lot of places you needed to add. Wide receiver wasn't like one of them. You have Malik Henry is supposed to come. I mean, he's still on the injured list, but he should be back at some point this season. Bagleton is still there. You have Eccles, Barnes, and the other Jalen Phil. But your 2 of your 6 offseason acquisitions were wide receivers. I don't know if that was correct. I think there's a lot of places on this team that needed help. And wide receiver wasn't one of them. Now, quarterback, obviously, you need Vernon Adams.
Huge upgrade here. Huge upgrade.
Yeah, it's a huge upgrade. But I don't know, I don't think this team is any good. They lost McEwen on the offensive line. There's big, they were suspect last year, and they're kind of old. It's going to be the same guys basically outside of I think Zach Williams is what I'm hearing is supposed to replace Sean McEwen, and
Yeah.
who knows how that's going to go. They started 4-0 at home last season. They kind of I think that's why we did so bad last season. Is I thought the Stamps were awful, and they just kept winning at home for some reason. It was overtime or a lot of fluke or the other team not showing up.
Yeah.
The big off-season move, besides Vernon, is that Dave Dickinson is still there. And I think that's a big problem. And he's still the general manager and the coach. Obviously, Demario Houston gone doesn't help either because he kind of helped a lot of interceptions and kind of helped get those early wins.
Yeah. And losing Rhodes and Judge, too. Some of your big blockers.
Yeah.
You're just tough there.
Well, Judge and Alway are like the heart of the team, and they're gone. Yeah. They're the vets, right? So I don't know if this is it's obviously not going to be as bad as if you remember the Mike Babcock situations. The last times he's been head coach in the NHL, but I mean, you're shipping out the vets for some young guys outside of Vernon Adams, obviously. Is Dickinson trying to go Babcock here? I don't know. But it kind of smells that way. This smells like a disaster waiting to happen.
I wish there was a line where you could bet first coach to be fired this season.
Oh, yeah. Wouldn't they have fired him already?
For himself. No, that's the thing. I mean, what do you do if this team goes 3 wins this season? He's not returning. I don't think if this team doesn't get 6+, this guy's going to stick around the CFL.
Do you have schedule graphics or?
I don't have any schedule graphics.
Oh, okay. Then I'm just gonna run off. I have the schedule notes here for each team. So they start with Hamilton at home, and they might win that game because Hamilton usually stinks the first game out west,
and it's a home opener too. Yeah.
And Vernon Adams has cooked the Ticats for a while now.
Yes.
So, but then 3 straight road games. Montreal, BC, Hamilton, all that travel. You're going from Calgary to Montreal, then the longest flight in the CFL over to BC, and then back to Hamilton. That's how you start after the Hamilton game. That's how you start your. Sorry. Sorry. Is that? No, that's later in the season. My bad. So after that, they go to Toronto. They go to Toronto, which is a loss.
And then they welcome Ottawa home.
Yeah, Ottawa for 2 home games. The bye. This is one of the earlier schedules I wrote down. I switched it up after this one, but overall, it's a hard schedule. They have one 5-day rest, only one 5-day rest period. But it's a home and home, or it's the home and home with Edmonton around Labor Day. So, but the 3 straight roadies, those look like 3 straight losses. That's week 17 to 19.
Yeah.
But I see 4 wins here, maybe.
It's gonna be tough.
Do you think they're going to be favored in any games?
This season, no, I don't think so. They might be favored at home against Hamilton.
Yeah, but week 1 last week.
It might be the only game.
but last year they weren't favored against Hamilton. I think it was week 1 as well. Was it week 1 they played Hamilton?
It was week 1.
Yeah.
It was first
and Hamilton was favored. So I think they were favored once against the Elks. I don't know if that was Labor Day, the rematch. And they got smashed by the Elks all 3 games. So,
So their win totals is set at 6.5. You're pretty much trying to get to 6, even on your fingers, and it's not happening.
Well, I go through the schedule. There's a home game. Okay, they could win week 1. Okay, there's a home game against BC. BC's kind of in a tough spot. They could win that one. Montreal, they might be able to sneak that one at home. And then maybe you win one against the Elks at home. But, you're not being... Are you beating Saskatchewan? Are you beating Winnipeg? I know they snuck one in overtime last year. Are you... you're not beating Toronto. I doubt that. This team doesn't look like they can stop anybody running the football. They lost their 2 best linebackers.
Yeah, if you look at week 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, I don't think they're getting a single W in July. 2 games against Winnipeg, the Rough Riders. Oh, in Regina, jeez, it's gonna be tough. It's tough.
Yeah.
I mean, your best bet is you only face the Elks come September too, like and the Lions.
Yeah, when exactly like you want to play we'll talk about Edmonton later, but like I feel like there's a lot of not a new players there. You want to play Edmonton early before they get going because they have the potential to get going, and you're not. You're playing, the Bull Levi Mitchell week 1. That's not you want to play week 1. The veteran quarterback, and then you go to Toronto. Maybe you get Arbuckle, but I mean, Calgary's not home. They haven't. Yeah. They've won one road game last year. It was week 21 against the Saskatchewan C team.
The Nothing Burger. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. They won 2 preseason wins. Don't matter.
So let me run you some numbers.
3 and 4 at home. Maybe they steal the Winnipeg game, July 3rd. Like I said, maybe they steal the Alouettes. I think the Alouettes are in a tough spot. July 24th. Maybe you win the Labor Day game, and then maybe you win, I don't know, against BC in September. There's not many wins here, so I really
you probably you chalk up 1 towards the end of the season.
So maybe they get
while people are resting, so you get 5. 5, 6,
5 wins, maybe
7. Getting to 7, I think you're talking about
close to the over.
Yeah,
the 6.5.
It is. Yeah, it is. It is, which is kind of crazy because I mean they're the lowest. I guess they're looking at the whole league as a whole, right? And it's very where a team's going to lose or win a couple wins here. Are they going to take an extra easy day against Calgary 1 week? If they got Calgary in the middle of 2 tough games, that's where it's going to be kind of up to Calgary to capitalize. The biggest difference here, and again, very small sample size. We saw only Vernon for a couple of minutes in both games, couple of drives. Does he gel with the receivers that Calgary has? They do have weapons. They definitely have weapons available for him. But this guy is also he's going to have to be running consistently. And as soon as he goes down, and if he's injured at any point this season, this team ain't going.
Oh, their season's over.
I mean,
it's over.
I mean, you got Walker as the backup. Hasn't really played any CFL reps. I get it. He's got some NFL experience and such, and a professional guy. But he doesn't have any 3-down ball. He doesn't have no 3-down ball experience. He's still learning playbooks. He's still getting used to that whole system. He'll be watching what Vernon does. But Calgary, I think Dave Dickinson is just counting on Vernon to escape a lot of hits here or there, and then just find a Reggie down the field on a post or on a short and find Philpott. And then if Henry comes back, maybe you get an extra option on any RPOs. But
they have their strength is quarterback and skill position. So if Vernon can make some magic, they have a good running back. They have, but does that really? I guess it matters a little. They have lots of good wide receivers, and they have a quarterback who can escape, who's going to need to escape, and good wide receiver. But I worry if Vernon is probably going to get hurt, and your defense looks like outside of Ormalade looks like a bunch of question marks at best. I think we saw teams consistently put up 40 points to this defense. I don't think it's gonna get. It doesn't look. You get rid of Judge and Awe. Okay, maybe bring in some youth a little bit with Ormalade. But I mean, Damon Webb. Sure, he had a lot of interceptions last year, but he also he was in the Ottawa secondary that got torched.
He was getting destroyed. Yeah, and they actually talking the second.
Miles Brown. Okay, maybe a little bit. Yeah. So maybe you can get a little pass rush with Ormalade and Brown. But I mean. They're going to play Toronto week 2. How many times Toronto to throw the ball? They might just hand it off to their 3 running backs. You know what I mean?
And then just run.
Your linebackers are gone. You got guys coming in. Who's expected at linebacker? Who do I have it written down? nobody knows. I looked around and said it looks like
unknown.
trouble.
Yeah, still
Yeah.
unknown. They were still making decisions. We're only going to know by the end of tonight who Dave wants. It's not
linebackers. Yeah, linebacker is maybe like the outside of punter is maybe like the least like concerning position. But I mean, when you just don't have anybody, it's a problem. This is like this to me. This looks like the Cincinnati Bengals light. Like I mean, you have a capable quarterback. You have really good wide receivers. But you have the offensive line. The defense looks horrid, and the secondary. The secondary doesn't look very good either. So, and then you got a stale coach. You know what I mean? Who's been there for a while.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's been around too long. Too much on his plate.
Yeah. Too much. So so do you like any futures with this team aside? I obviously the Grey Cup there's no point.
Plus 3,000. I mean, yeah, sure. Call me if you want to make that bet. I'll book that.
There's only really two options here. Like, do we want to take the under on the win total, and in even the season series against Edmonton, that's up on a couple of sport books. It's too late in the season to even consider that. It's probably Edmonton sweep there.
Yeah, so we'll talk about the season series when we talk about Edmonton, because I mean I'm not betting Calgary in the season series, but I bet I already made the bet under 6.5 wins plus 124. I think is the best number.
Yep.
And week to week, I mean I'm not betting the Stamps anytime soon. If they prove me wrong, they prove me wrong. But they do look like they could be an over team as long as Vernon Adams is healthy, because he'll probably make some plays. They have weapons, and I don't trust their defense to stop anything. They're going to make
a lot of games, 40-30.
Yeah, exactly. What was it last year? Like I remember betting like these guys took me for rides. It's like, oh, the offense is working, and they're up, and then all of a sudden they're not up because they can't stop anything. They were like a worse Ottawa, and then they went and got somebody from the Ottawa secondary to help. Oh, he had lots of interceptions. Yeah, he picked off I think Chad Kelly 4 times, and against everybody else he stunk.
Pretty nice.
So I mean, not they stunk. I mean, like they were getting torched. That Ottawa secondary got torched consistently last year, and that's why they have different guys this year.
Yeah.
So yeah, Calgary's a fade and maybe an over team.
I agree. I am in full agreement here. I also had them on the under. I think this team makes 5 wins at best, 6 on in a good season. They repeat their record from last year. I don't think this is a better team than last year's Stampeders. Sure, they're upgraded on QB, but aside from that, they've downgraded more than they've upgraded.
If they lose week 1. Right, like there's 0-18 potential. If they lose week 1 and Vernon Adams gets hurt early in the season, there's potential they don't win a game. Like they'll probably get one, but I'm saying there's a chance.
How far they are from the rest of the field?
I think the rest of
the Cup and one team not.
Yeah, the other 8 teams. I mean, there's good like, Calgary. Okay, you can see quarterback, wide receiver. Okay, pretty good, but like. In the trenches, they're okay. They're not bad. They're not good. They're okay. But the secondary is horrid. Okay, they have a good kicker. But I don't trust the only. They're 1 injury away from, potentially, 1-2 wins. Maybe 0. Vernon Adams, because if Logan Bonner comes in, I mean, we saw him. We saw what happened. He won a preseason game, but, that's it's just I think the rest of the league is good. I think Calgary's really bad, and their coach, especially if he stays the whole season,
should have gone already.
Yeah, it's potential cancer, especially with Judge and Alway gone. Like this team could quit, and they could quit fast.
Yeah. Let's jump to the East and go with Hamilton here. So obviously last year they missed out on the playoffs. Finished last in the East. Do you think they improved in the offseason, you being a Ticats fan and such? I mean, I actually loved their acquisitions. I thought they They looked at some of the holes they had. Obviously, new GM coming in. A lot of that Bombers history kind of took a lot of ex-Bomber players that he really enjoyed connecting with. So you kind of have this little Hamilton Blue Bombers kind of feel to it. What's your thoughts on the Ticats? Better, worse than last year?
So they're still like they have to win by scoring. Like their offense on paper, their offense is very good. You have Bo, right? He looked good in preseason. I know it's preseason, but I mean, him and Lawler look like they got something going. They were 7-11 last year. Their usual late surge. You know, they're a slow starting team. The Ticats, they always are. New GM. So I like that. Milanovic is still there. I thought he was pretty good. I like getting rid of Butler. We don't need the controversy at running back. I liked bringing that Augustine guy. He looked like he had some punch in preseason. Oh, one thing I want to mention before I forget. CFL teams. Please. I want when you game day roster, 3 quarterbacks, 7 O-linemen, 2 running backs. We don't need these games when nobody has a running back or you have defensive linemen playing offensive line. Okay? Yeah. Enough of that. Right. You know what I mean? If your defender goes down, you know what I mean? You know, okay. But I mean, especially as fans, you know, people want to see offense. You know, no one wants to see, like, if you have a defender going down, okay, you could probably fill somebody in there. You know what I mean? Like it's, you know, or you could help somebody out. You know, you can bring a safety over. You can adjust the defense. Like defense is hard as it is, right? But you know, you like I'm sick of this. 2 running backs, okay? Everybody, none of this Ottawa, this Hamilton nonsense with 1 running back, he gets hurt, and you have wide receivers running the ball. None of that nonsense. I don't want to hear about that on TV anymore. Okay, if 2 go down, 2 go down. Okay, nothing you can do about that. And 7 O-linemen. I'm sick of seeing an O-lineman go down. They're like, oh, well, they don't have anyone else after the backup guy.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, it's like, what are you doing? Like, I get you have to have ratios. But I mean, you need your offensive line, and you need to be able to run the football, or else you're not winning the football game. Yeah, maybe if you're playing Calgary, but like, please, 2 running backs, 7 O-linemen, dress them, please. I know they have to dress 3 quarterbacks, I think, but if 2 quarterbacks go down, you're probably gonna lose anyways. So like, I don't even know if you like, but I get it. You want to watch the game, but please, 7 O-linemen and 2 running backs, please. I was sick of hearing that. Like the coach looks like a damn fool when your running back gets hurt. It's a running back. They always get hurt.
Yeah.
Press 2.
Or they got to take a break, you know?
Yeah, please, coaches, please. 2 running backs, 7 O-linemen, dress them. All right, back to the Hamilton, because I know Hamilton was just dressing Bell, and
he was towards the end.
Yeah, I know. Okay, but James Butler, we don't need him. You know, get rid of controversy. Yeah, Dunbar didn't really work out. Barlow's a tough loss. Beard's a tough loss, but Hamilton has a really good old line.
You got Amos back. You got you got Robson back.
So
you got Reggie. I know Reggie was hurt last season, but he was a starlet in that Grey Cup Alice team. So if he comes back to that, you got an MODP potential, man. Defensive Player of the Year right there, potentially. This Hamilton team, again, being an Argos fan and all, this team scares me on paper. Not just being, Hamilton versus Toronto kind of thing. I think these guys are going to learn with their new GM, essentially what Winnipeg did to become successful. And I know people shit on Winnipeg for not winning Grey Cups or more Grey Cups, but still, all the visits that they've had to the Grey Cup is impressive. Okay? That doesn't matter. It's still tough to get there, and they get there. And this guy knows how to get there. And now he has a team that has been there recently, or has in the past been oftentimes going to the big dance, just not being able to convert, but still there. And now he's got options. And I look at Bo, and I see those receivers. Okay, first of all, Kenny's one of the fastest guys in the league in terms of just running a post or running down the field. And Bo's got one of the best arms in the league. The amount of 50-yard gains this guy might have this season, I wouldn't be surprised if we see over-unders on receiving yards for Lawler every week at like 85 and or more.
Yeah, his season numbers, the season numbers are up. I saw them this morning. 1,100, I think, is Lawler. I mean, I'm not betting the under, but it's a high number.
But then you have White on the other side, so it's like,
yeah.
Bo just
So
needs to go,
here's
yes, no.
I think they should have traded White. He's not. He
Not
looks
same.
like he doesn't fit in on the offense. There's lots of wide receivers in the CFL. I mean, Calgary has some, so we know there's lots.
Yeah.
Actually, the one team that actually has maybe needed wide receivers is the Argos. Interestingly enough, but the big questions for Hamilton is how's the defense going to look? A lot of rookies. They looked pretty good in the preseason game against Toronto, the first one I watched.
They look like great
outside
draft pickers.
Yeah, they looked. They flashed, so that's always good to see. We'll see what they do, in game. And that's the Argos O-line is probably the best in the CFL. So, but we'll see how they look. They were testing some blitz packages. I like that, testing blitz packages of preseason. The defense is the question mark. This looks like, especially early in the season, because you have a vet quarterback. He's not going to, he's not going to. I don't think he's going to have the yips or anything really leads Bo. And the O-line is stout. Lots of weapons. Looks like a dead nuts over team early. Maybe be careful if the Rooks start to figure things out about auto Ticats overs as the season progresses. But early in the season, I expect to be playing lots of overs with the Ticats. The secondary looks okay, but on the D line, it's Sales and a bunch of questions, rookies, and so.
They could gel.
We'll see.
They could gel.
They could, yeah. So, it's going to be another Ticats season probably where they start slow and maybe they figure things out as they go along. They're good at that. Bo looks good though, and hopefully he's got all the pick sixes out of his game. I know he's going to throw a couple, but hopefully he's got most of them out of his game last year.
Oh, he had one of his highest performing seasons last year in terms of passing yards and such.
Yeah, he did, but he got benched.
He did.
And then Powell got hurt, and then he came back, and then the rest they didn't bench him after that.
That's the thing. He kind of figured it out with Scott late season. Not so he wasn't playing Scott's game early season.
And he looked super comfortable in the preseason.
The two I think are now kind of more in mesh, in line with what they want to do. I'm sure Bo was involved in hey, you want this guy here? You think this guy would work with you? And it's new places. Some of these guys are going to want to prove themselves. You're going to want some of the vets to also prove themselves to say, hey, this is why I stay as a Ticat. And there's just something about players just wanting to play in Hamilton. It may not be for the city itself, but I think more the organization and the fan base that follows this team. But you got guys who pretty much just said, fuck you, Toronto. I'm jumping over to play with the Ticats.
Well, it was five Winnipeg players this year, but last year, that was the case. Amos, I guess. Amos was an Argo, right, last year?
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah. So, or was he a Bomber? I can't remember. He was on the Argos at one point.
He was an Argos. He was an Argos last year.
Yeah.
But so if you look at this list, it's all Bombers. Lawler, Dobson, Garbutt.
Yeah, they got 5 Bombers in the offseason. Yeah. Which it's a good team to poach from. It's like poach from the Eagles. I mean, or the Patriots. I mean, they've won the division five straight years. So the win total is 8.5, slight juice to the over. One thing about the win totals, there's only 81 wins available, up to 81. Remember, ties don't count; they count as if you have the under, it's in your favor. There's only 81 wins available in the season, but there's 84.5 on the board, so value on the unders per usual. Plus 1,200 to win the Grey Cup, plus 320 was the best number I saw to win the East, and then plus 450 to reach the Grey Cup.
Yeah, there's some higher ones. There's 350 on on Win Division.
Oh, the
That's
East.
with Sports Interaction. Yeah.
Oh,
Win
sports.
the
Yeah, yeah. When I wrote these down, they didn't have their numbers up yet.
Yeah.
But they're back up. Yeah, yeah. Yeah,
And
Saskatchewan is a big one on that book. We'll talk about
then
later.
there's the season series also on a couple of books
Yes.
against
So I haven't.
against the Argos.
Yeah. So remember, 7 wins last year, 3 against the Argos, the sweep. Obviously, the Labor Day game.
Toronto. Yeah.
Yeah. So now it's two games in Toronto this year. Hamilton to win the season series is plus 200, and then the sweep for Hamilton is plus 1,500 if it happens again. I don't know if it's going to happen. I circled it. I said, "Oh, what happened last year?" But winning twice, I think Toronto's really going to circle that game, the first one, anyways.
The one in July, yeah, July 4th.
Yeah, because you lost 3 in a row. Now, here's the thing, though: if they do lose the first one, maybe you get this plus 1,500. And if Hamilton's good, obviously that's a good price. If they're what we think they are, if you roll over, I did the math there. I think it'd be about plus 1,600. So it's not that much lost value, especially if they win the first 2. Maybe you get the number won't be as high on the third one. But I don't know, just to win the season series plus 200, I'll probably play a little bit on that. In terms of their schedule, they start in Calgary, as we mentioned. It's been a house of horrors. They got 2 home games after that against Saskatchewan and Montreal. Their buys are week 3, 12, and 20, so pretty spaced out there. Yeah. They do have a 3-game road trip at Ottawa, at BC, at Edmonton. And then on 5-day rest, they have to come home and play BC. So that's a really bad stretch.
It's kind of ugly.
They do have a 5-day week with travel after Labor Day, but it's preceded by the bye, so it's not as bad. But then they also have a 6, and then again after that, it's a 6-day week against Winnipeg, but it's at home. So, and Montreal's coming off the bye after Labor Day too, so that's a bad spot. So it's a tough schedule. They always start at West, and I hate it because it feels like a scheduled loss. But maybe, with Dave Dickinson and the Calgary,
the Calgary one,
maybe they get, especially with Bo. But Bo loves, he's played there forever, so he knows that stadium. Like I said, over team. Nothing for me in terms of bets, except I will probably sprinkle plus 200 to win the season series. So either 2-0, 2-1, or 3-0 against the Argos. Just because 3-0 last year, plus 200 seems too good. Just to win 2 out of 3. Because, if you give them the Labor Day game, they just got to win 1 of the other 2. So, and even if they stink, that's they're going to play that Labor Day game like it's their Grey Cup, like they did last year.
100%. So the season series is where I kind of like it too. I know the BMO edge is a little tough, but they did beat Toronto and BMO last season. I know it came down to kicking at the end of the game, but they still won.
Toronto only had 2 home losses.
Yeah.
Ticats and Alouettes, but the Alouettes game I think was a little bit of, I think it was an injury or something in that game.
Yeah, it was something early on. I can't recall. You don't see these guys as Grey Cup potentials? Do you see them in the playoffs?
The East is tough.
The East is stacked.
The East is the harder division. This isn't the CFL from 3-4 years ago. The East is the harder division. You have an offense. Like I said, if the defense develops as the season goes on, they have a chance. But Ticats are slow starters. There's no need to bet the Grey Cup number now. If I do bet the Ticats futures, it will be mid-season because we know how the Ticats start. And they have that rough stretch. in the middle there. So maybe if you liked Hamilton, maybe wait till that's finished, and maybe they're like, because we know they like to finish strong. So
Yeah, that end of the season piece there, they could easily be stealing a couple of games. Obviously, the Ottawa game, last game of the season, depending on where
who knows if
people
Ottawa
are
has anything to play for, right?
You get the Stamps again right at the end of the season.
Yeah,
You
that
probably
like
have more to play for than them.
exactly. So like that Stamps game is like your insurance policy. You have to you have to think that you have one more win than you do because it's at home,
Especially
and
if you get the first one too. Then it's like 2 wins just against Calgary.
yeah, they got if Ticats are going anywhere. I know like it's game one. You shouldn't, but I mean, man, you got to take advantage of being the worst team in the league. But yeah, like their schedule is hard. It's just that one stretch, and then the game after Labor Day. But again, they have the bye week before that, so it's not as bad as like I would say that's a scheduled loss if they didn't have the bye week before Labor Day. But because you have the bye week before Labor Day, you might be able to win 2 of the 3. But that Montreal game's almost a scheduled loss. Like it's almost a scheduled loss. But Winnipeg does stink in Hamilton, so it's But that
stretch, Winnipeg comes east. Yeah,
yeah, they're not great. But that stretch from July 27th, from July 20th to August 7th is brutal. That could be 0-4. And that could be 0-4. You might like you want to win like ideally you want to win 2, but that stretch is bad because I mean we'll talk about the Red Blacks. They're looking pretty good.
Let's jump to Edmonton here. Again, another team that kind of seen a lot of changes in the off season. Obviously, starting with their head coach, they got a new head coach, former Calgary offensive coordinator, now heading the line here in Edmonton. I think that guy was thinking he was going to take over Dave's spot last season. Didn't happen. Here he goes, jump shift to his rival team. He's got a little bit of an edge on his case, sort of similar to a Corey.
Another colossal embarrassment by the Stampeders. What happened with that coach? Get rid of Dave. I don't know if you didn't see the writing on the wall last year. The fact that they lost almost all of their how they were a 9-game losing streak until the free win at the end of the season against the Saskatchewan C team. Anyways, continue back to Edmonton.
And then rants aside, I'm totally on board with your Calgary opinions because I have the same. This Edmonton Elks, Eskimos, whatever they want to be called, Edmonton football team, whatever the owner wants to call them. I love the acquisitions they had. Here again, we kind of had the same kind of conversation early last season. On paper, this team should cook. This team got better. This team gets better. This team has insurance policies. They upgraded in Bethel Thompson to get Fajardo. They've finally said this is Ford's season. He's the starter, period. No ifs or buts. He's the guy. They bring his brother on to protect the shit out of him, too, or to help out. Then you get Beard. You get Serezna back, and Serezna wants to play in Edmonton again this time around. You get Smith. He brings his buddy over from Toronto. A lot of chemistry already on this defensive line. I could see Ford being safe for minutes on end with this team. And then they got rid of the dead weight. Honestly, they just got rid of the dead weight. That was the guys who just didn't work with what they needed, gone. I think their biggest loss being Lewis. But then again, you see how the GM treats Lewis. So probably was already written in the wall that they didn't want him. Losing Purifoy is probably big. Oakman, they replaced Oakman with the talent they needed, but Purifoy was probably their biggest loss. And then they got rid of the guy who just tossed up picks. They're actually traded for Fajardo. It might bite Montreal in the ass, and we'll get to that in a bit.
Yeah,
but this team here, I gotta say, I hope this team doesn't go 0-7 or 0 whatever they were again last season. Or over the last 2 seasons. This team is good. This team, if they weren't, if Saskatchewan and the Grey Cup wasn't in Winnipeg, I would put this team at the top of the West right now.
Yeah, they're the off-season champs for sure. Not just the odds. Obviously, Serezna is very, very good. Obviously, Tyrell Ford and Royce Metchie are very, very good on defensive back. And obviously, the head coach, it's an upgrade. But even and David Beard, very good center from Hamilton. But even the subtractions look like an upgrade. Like the complaint department's out of there. He's cancer. Lewis, there was drama. Get rid of the drama. Kevin Brown, he's been replaced. You don't want somebody who's resentful. He was a good player, but get rid of that potential problem. Oakman, whatever. Jones was good, but you don't need him really. The Purifoy loss hurts, but you replaced him, and then Julian Grant, whatever. They also got Hollins, wide receiver.
Yeah, pick them up.
Yeah, like they're stacked on paper. Sometimes that translates, sometimes it doesn't. But this team is stacked on paper. And Serezna is a monster. I had like usually you say if you get somebody from the Argos, because the Argos are the top brass right now in the CFL, clearly. But like Serezna's like one of those guys that he's going to be fine. In my opinion, anyways. You also got Cody Grace at punter. I thought Julian was fine, but Grace is very good.
Grace is great, yeah.
So they have a battle at kicker. I don't know who's going to win. I know Blanchard missed an extra point in the last preseason game, so maybe it will be the Flair guy.
I think they just
we'll see what happens at kicker. Yeah. Sorry? Oh, they released him. Oh, okay. Yeah. So kicker might be a concern. Yeah, I'm not. They when you have a rookie kicker coming, that could be an issue. And with that, the Elks, they like the elk things, and kicking is the way you can elk it up. And don't sleep on their big wide receiver Zach Mathis, who's a red zone target. I kind of like if we can find touchdown props for him, he might be a week-to-week touchdown player. So you can get 7.5 is juiced. I think minus 160 is the best. Or actually, minus 156. I think I got minus 154. I bet it this morning. I also bet over 8.5 plus 110. So I got it over 8 at so I made it I made my own 8 because I didn't want to lay 160. So I think I got over 8 at minus 123 or 124 between two books there. To win the Grey Cup, FanDuel for some reason has plus 2,200. I have no idea why. Yeah. So I bet it. I mean, I just put a little bit in my pocket. Yeah, this team, it's the weaker division. Winnipeg showing weakness. We'll talk. We know Winnipeg showing weakness. We'll talk about Saskatchewan in a little bit. We'll talk about BC in a little bit. But this team on paper is loaded. It might take them a couple weeks to figure it out. So maybe we can get a bigger number. That's why I only bet a little bit on it. But I bet it last year. So now you see the additions. And you're letting Trey Ford start. Fajardo looks like he's fine being the backup. There doesn't look like there's any drama there. No. Okay. The one thing I don't like about this team is the stupid name drama, the Eskimo Elk stuff. That's a big distraction. That's what I don't like. So I don't necessarily like the Elks early, which is why I didn't bet them to win the division. But I think if this team figures it out as the season goes along, if they sneak into the playoffs, watch out. They got a good run game. The O-line is, one change. Other than that, good chemistry there. Obviously, Ford is a playmaker. They have a backup quarterback who's good. They have lots of Curly Gittins, Alexander Hollins, Stephen Dunbar, Arkell Smith, even our friend Arkell Smith.
Yes.
Is on.
Is on the team. I look at their
Um,
schedule. Their first 6 games are very tough. Obviously playing the BC home opener, and then you got to go
with
what
Snoop
2 interviews.
Dogg.
Yeah, Snoop. You bring Montreal over. That might be a little tough for Montreal. You kind of get a little bit of a revenge game, like if you throw Fajardo in for a couple reps. The Bombers. I wish they faced the Bombers at home first, because the Bombers are still going to be,
Yeah,
with that home
tough place
field a
to
little
play.
bit. And then you just got Ottawa, Lions, and then Rough Riders. Your real kind of um, potential first win could be against the Ticats. I don't think they go 0-6, to be honest. I think they split. They maybe go 3-3 with this 6. And then after that, you really only get to take advantage come September when you get your back-to-back against Calgary. But then it's obviously the Labor Day games where the Calgary's going to do this whole Stampede celebration game, Stampede Bowl, I think they're calling it. So that's going to be a little tough too, with all the shenanigans there. But you only get to Calgary 3 times, and they're all past September when people are vying for playoff spots. So you just got to be in the West, anyways. If you're at 500 ball, you're
Yeah, I
probably
like their schedule. I think
you're
it's
probably
good.
good.
You get Winnipeg early. You get BC early before maybe Rourke figures things out with the new coaches.
Yeah,
You get the Red Blacks game. You get the Red Blacks at home. You get Montreal at home. Hamilton weeks 8, I think that is. That's early enough.
yeah.
And the Calgary games, they're gonna kill them. Okay, I already bet it. I laid minus
Oh,
160.
you took the series,
Edmonton,
huh?
it's a joke. It should be minus 250. Okay, that's a joke. Did you watch the games last year? This team's better. They murdered Calgary last. It wasn't even close. Minus 160 to win the series. I got, I think, most of it on that, and then I also bet 3-0 Edmonton plus 4 or plus 500. I got on that. Edmonton to sweep the series. Calgary's a joke. This team is real. It's late in the season. There's not going to be any growing pains. This is going to be Edmonton running, going well. Vernon Adams will probably be hurt by this point. So, I mean, it should be Edmonton's going to be like, that third game, Edmonton might be like minus 14. Like, that October 24th game. Now, the problem is, does Edmonton need that game? That's the question with the 3-0.
The last game.
Yeah. But I think they do.
I think you do.
I think the West is going to be close enough where they're probably going to. And even if Fajardo's playing, he could beat the Stampeders. Like,
and that's the thing. They got a quality QB too as QB1.
Yeah. And even if they're bad, even if Edmonton is horrible, lose the win total bets, the 3-0 is still alive because if they're out of it, they're going to hammer Calgary in the last game of the season. Especially if Dave Dickinson is still there as a lame duck head coach. I mean, I don't think if Dave Dickinson's still there October 24th, when Edmonton wins the first 2, we're cashing the 3-0 because he's going to be a lame duck unless Calgary's good. Unless we're completely wrong. Calgary's good. But I like the 3-0. I laid the 160. I think that should be like minus 250. That's cheap in my opinion. The only issue is, like I said, that late game. It adds a little bit of thing. But yeah, over 8 wins, and I bet the Grey Cup. So I have lots of Elks. We're in the green. I have lots of Elks plays. Don't Elk it up, hopefully, this year. But come on. I mean, 8. I mean, this team on paper looks like the second best team in the CFL after Toronto.
Agreed. Let's just continue in the West here. Let's talk about BC. And this is a team, again, I don't know if it's so much about additions and subtractions and just more about, is Rourke back to 2022 style Rourke? Or are we going to have what we saw late last season? What they did do is they got rid of anybody who are like, oh, we're all Team VA versus Team Rourke. They got rid of that stuff. They brought back guys who like Rourke and Butler, Allen. They did pick up Mika and Hendricks, which will help. They got some vet QB presence this time around, so that if Rourke does go down or has to take an inning, a quarter off. You got Masoli, who's got a lot of CFL experience, who can just take a couple reps here and there. But then they lost, Mackey retired. He's now heading to CFLPA. And then they lost Stanback, who I thought was one of their starlets last season. But I mean, they got Butler. Could Butler do what
Running
Stanback
backs
did?
don't
Maybe
matter.
it's true.
It's the same thing. It's the same thing.
It's exactly. So, I look at this team. I have these guys fourth in the West on my kind of schedule of stuff and how I see the West panning out. I think their schedule's terrible. I don't know if you've taken a look at it, but they don't face West teams again for a long time.
So they better beat Edmonton week 1. That's all I'm saying. They bet if this team's going anywhere, they have to beat the Elks week 1. The way I see that schedule, because I know we're skipping ahead. I did schedule again, but I mean, go look at their schedule. If they lose week 1 to the Elks, there's a chance they're 0-7 because it is bad after that. Horrible. It is really bad,
and it is against West teams, West heavy. So they're going to be having to play catch up against the East in the middle of the season. I don't know.
We'll round off the first 7 games. Look at this. So you play the Elks. You got the home opener. You got Snoop Dogg in the house. But then, there's no Caleros. But you have to go 5 days rest to Winnipeg. Okay, if they haven't played a game, but they're off their bye. They're going to be fresh as eat. Now, they haven't played a game, so maybe, and it's early. So maybe, maybe you can sneak that one. It's probably Strevler. But if it's Strevler, Winnipeg's going to pound the rock, and you're on 5-day week. You know what I mean? That's not exactly the best spot. Then you go play Winnipeg again, and it will be Caleros. And that you get a little bit of break. But I'm like, Winnipeg's owned. What was it? Winnipeg was 2-5. You went into their building and they shut you out. You know what I mean? Yeah. They've had BC's number for a while now. I know the regular season BC's got some wins, and then it's what, a 3-game road trip: Saskatchewan, Montreal, Ottawa. Oh, sorry, Saskatchewan, Montreal, Edmonton. And then you come home on a short week to play Saskatchewan again. We're talking about them in a minute. They're not fake; they're real. So 0-7 potential if you lose game 1.
Yeah, it's gonna be this team is. I've been talking to a bunch of BC Lions fans, and they circle this schedule as the worst schedule they've had in the last 5 years. Easy. They just do not see any kind of glimmer of hope if they start horrible. You're done. You're done by mid-July. You are out of the playoffs.
Yeah, you could be 0-7. It's just you have to that week 1. We say, with the Calgary Hamilton game. Okay, if Hamilton loses to Calgary, it's week 1. The Hamilton does this all the time. But this is if you lose week 1, right, and then you got to play 5 days later against a team who's going to pound the rock on you, and then you got to play them again, and then all of a sudden 3-game road trip. You're it doesn't get easier. Snoop Dogg's in the house. You better beat the Elks week 1, or this is trouble. Big trouble.
Yeah. Beat the Elks before the Elks figure out how to play.
Yeah, if they there's going to be 40,000, 50,000 people for at least the first half at BC plays. You have all the advantages. You know what I mean? The Elks, new team, got to figure it out. You can't lose that game, especially with the next 6. So, in terms of the team, like you said, I like Masoli coming in. I like Awe. I like Butler being back. They shuffled the O-line. How many times have we talked about the O-line's trash on this team? It's their weakness. So they shuffled it. I'm still not sold on it, but at least they're trying something. Dijon Allen's good. So we'll see that. Buck Pierce, I don't know. I didn't like his play calling in Winnipeg to end his term there. I think yeah.
He's got some relevancy with this BC Lions team. But again, when you used to coach in the early 2010s, it's a completely different game now. Just look at the Montreals and the Torontos. That's what you need. You need the Moss and you need the Dinwiddie playbooks that are just working well. Even Bob Dice's playbook is better than some of these guys.
I don't know about that, but but like I said, I'm not sold on Buck Peters.
Some people think Bob Dice is going to win them coach of the year, man. That's how it
Well,
could be.
yeah, he's Dan Campbell. Like, he's not an X's and O guy, but
yeah.
they play for him. They love the guy in
They
Ottawa
play
there.
for him, for sure.
Yeah, but I mean, you have Rourke, Hatcher, McInnes, and Katoy. All right, those are your horses. You got to protect Rourke. You got to get the ball to your wide receivers. You got to run the ball a little bit. But the depth at wide receiver isn't great. Like, they should probably go call Hamilton and see if they can get Tim White, or call Montreal and get one of their 5 wide receivers, because, like, Eberhardt, he's okay. Berryhill's hurt, and I don't think he's not that great either. So there's some competition for the returner. At defensive end, obviously Betts is very good. The D line on BC is very good. I like Alway, but the secondary is question. Now, obviously, if you're getting good pressure, you can cover up. Like, you have Gary Peters back there, but TJ Lee gone is the first time in forever. We're going to see no TJ Lee in the backfield. And you got Jalen Edwards Cooper and some other question marks going to try to replace TJ Lee at the back end there. Yeah, I mean, I like the. I mean, I'm leaning under. It's 9.5 wins. They won 9 last year. If they win 9 again, that horrid schedule. But I haven't bet it yet. They could be good. They have Rourke. We know how good Rourke is.
Exactly.
They have McInnes. You know what I mean? Like. And then remember, they can play lots of Americans because you're starting Canadian quarterback.
Yeah.
So we'll see. I'm not, because the Saskatchewan and Winnipeg, they're older teams. There can be some injuries there, and that can open the door for BC. Edmonton could struggle. If they can navigate the first 7 games, then you get to play Hamilton, you get to play Calgary, you get to play some of the weaker teams, later in the season.
Yeah, could change up.
So,
I still think, obviously, the number is at 9.5, mainly because of Rourke. Looks like Canada to have the season that people are expecting him to have. But again, I think it was just a little bit of a gap where the rest of the CFL kind of caught up to his standards. He does have to. He could easily jump back. He's looked great in preseason. He hasn't looked like he skipped a beat. He's actually looked better. I'm
not betting him MOP. Not right now, anyways.
No. If there's anything he's winning, it would be MOC. But then again, there's a guy in Winnipeg that might just win it again.
Yeah. Might win both.
Again, yeah. I mean, to me, I do lean on the under. I think this team max is a 9-win team. It could be still a playoff team with 9 wins, but
so here's the thing, though. Like, it's a tough schedule. It's bad.
I'll say
the
it's
Red
an
Blacks,
over if Winnipeg is an under. It's an over if Winnipeg is an under.
Yeah, that's the thing. Like, they could, like I said, they start 0-7. They could start 3-0 if Winnipeg has their swan song. And then, that 3-game road trip's tough. But then, if you win the first one, if you lose the next 2, if you lose 2 of the next 3, it's not the end of the world. And then, they're gonna, like, Ottawa struggles out there, Hamilton struggles out there. Toronto's played pretty good out there, but Toronto. But then you got 2 late games against Calgary. If they're in it, they could get to 10, and then they finish with the Rough Riders. Are Rough Riders going to have anything to play for? Are they going to be in first place?
Probably.
So
the biggest downside is they only get Calgary twice, right?
Yeah, they get Edmonton 3 times. They get Saskatchewan 3 times. That's not great.
It's not fun. They have to fight for those wins. So even if you split both series 2-2,
and they only play Winnipeg early, so that is good because we saw the slow start with Winnipeg.
Yeah, they get that out of the way.
But the 5-day week against Strevler, it's awful. It's so bad because you're going to be and Winnipeg's going to wear you out because they're going to run the rock, fresh guys. Like, they're not going to play any fancy throwing down the field nonsense. It's going to be we're going to hand the ball off. Yeah, and then by the third quarter, BC is going to be gassed.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um,
I agree. So I don't have anything on BC myself.
Yeah.
Like again, for me, I think this
I might
is
play
9.
small, under 9.5. It's plus money. I'll probably get there. Yeah, I'll probably get. I might make it official. Under 9.5 here, plus 114.
Yeah.
I'll take it. Because like I said, there's 84.5 wins on the win totals. There's only 81 available, and if you get a tie, it's even better with the unders.
Even better. Yeah. And we might get ties this season. Who knows? Let's jump to the Red Blacks.
BC is like a prime tie team too.
Yeah, this is another prime time team, or not prime time, prime tie team.
Yeah.
We got the Red Blacks here. So we had a little bit of on the CFL Stats Geek Instagram channel. We kind of had a little prediction of who might win Grey Cups and such. This is my Grey Cup pick.
Oh,
The Ottawa Red Blacks are my Grey Cup pick, and I'll tell you this: I think Drew Brown is in for a great, fantastic season. This guy changed what Ottawa is like, and he's just got Standback to help him run. He's got Lewis now to join that core. They got a couple of additional defensive backs that are helping out. And then yes, they lost a couple of guys, but I think they actually got better in terms of overall addition and subtraction. The biggest question here is, for me anyways, is Bob Dice and how aggressive this guy gets with his team. But
I hated that tie. I hated it. I know it got them in the playoffs. But if they had gone for the win there, they could have hosted Toronto instead of going there.
Yeah, and it would have been a different situation.
Like they went out and beat Hamilton anyway, so they would have made the playoffs. They won that game against Hamilton late in the season when Hamilton still had something to play for. So,
yep, they did what they needed to do. I mean, their first game, home, very first game of CFL kickoff, Ottawa versus Saskatchewan. I think it's going to be a little bit of a statement game. Do I think the Red Blacks win the East? I don't necessarily think they finish first in the East. I think they're just primed to run it deep throughout the playoffs.
So I actually think the opposite. I think so the schedule's hard. I don't like it. But I think if you like Ottawa, you bet them to win the division. Or you bet the over wins, because there's an onus to host a playoff game because of how good they were at home last year. Whereas Toronto, Montreal know they can win on the road.
Yeah.
I think late in the season, Ottawa will 100% play their starters if they need the win to get home field or first place. I think they will play their full team, whereas Toronto, Montreal might, if somebody's nicked up a little bit, they might say, we can go to Ottawa, you know what I mean? Or we can go to Montreal, we can go to Toronto, you know what I mean? They've been there. Ottawa, I think, will go for home field. So I actually think if you like Ottawa, you bet them the win total or division. Because they they played a playoff game and they got a lead, but then they got smashed. And before halftime, they were up 10 points or something, and then they were down 14.5 or something. And I turned it off. There's the Rick Campbell coming back. I think so. People say, Bob Dice hired his replacement. I think if they fire Bob Dice, you fade them, because I don't think Rick Campbell's that good of a head coach. But I think he's a very good special teams coordinator.
I do too. I think their special teams.
So I think their special teams are elite. They might have the best special teams in the league, especially with Rick Campbell. They were preseason game 1. They had a punt return touchdown. They have Lewis Ward, and their punt is very good too. So, I think Ottawa. They look like they are primed. They could win the Grey Cup. However, Grey Cup could also be in Winnipeg. And if they go to and then I'm not. And if Winnipeg is the winner of the West, unless I don't know if anyone can go in there and maybe I don't know. I mean, you could do it. Hamilton, I think, would have the best shot to do it, because Winnipeg did it to them, and I think like they'd really want to do it to Winnipeg. But yeah, Drew Brown. I like Drew Brown. I like Crum as QB2. Devontae, I'm looking at you, Bob Dice. Play 2 running backs, please. Please, and none of this tying. Like, listen, the problem with Ottawa is the coaching. The coaching. Like, can we trust Dice? Can we trust Campbell? Like the O line's great. The D line's great. They fixed the secondary. Pickett their secondary was horrible last year. But I mean, half the team was hurt except Damon Webb, and now he's in where is he? Calgary. That tells you what that tells you what he's been doing. That tells you no one else signed him. Yeah, so they shook up the secondary. If their secondary is any good, this team looks good. Schedule's hard. They open at Saskatchewan, probably like you want to talk about a bad opener, maybe the worst in the CFL. Then Montreal at home at Calgary. Okay, you can win those games. 8, 13, 17 by no extended road trips, but they have back-to-back roadies with 5 and 6 day rest. So week 5 and 6, Edmonton and Hamilton on the road with lots of travel, and that's with 6 days rest. And then the 10 and then week 10 and 11, that is Toronto and Winnipeg, 2 tough opponents, both on the road, 5 days rest. Like, what are we doing here, CFL? Like that's ridiculous. It
took them a long time to meet the schedule too.
I know. Come on. I mean, I'm not McLeod Thompson here, but I mean, come on. I mean, this is the up and coming team, a market you want to capitalize on. You give them that. Winnipeg, Toronto on 5 days rest on the road. Like, come on. That second game is basically a scheduled loss against Winnipeg. Like, that's a scheduled loss.
Much is.
Yeah. Like, and then 3 games in 11 days to end the season. Like, what is that? Like, it's come on. Like, ugh. Maybe you're right. Maybe you do bet the Grey Cup instead. But like, I don't know. It's just it's Montreal, Hamilton. It's not much travel, but still,
it's still.
Like that the game at Hamilton could eliminate them or something stupid.
It could be winner makes it in.
It's just I was bullish on Ottawa. Like I was gonna bet, then I saw the schedule. I'm just like, what? Like come on. I mean, this is okay. They don't have a 3-game road trip, but it's worse than that.
The small rest, those are games I'm circling on. Okay, easy win here. Easy bet the Bombers on this one. Bet the money.
And it's not like they're playing Calgary in these 5-day periods. You know what I mean?
I mean, they get to host the Ticats and Calgary before those 2 games, so. But still.
But you would like to host Ticats or Calgary in the 5-game window.
In the middle.
Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah. So maybe see, in theory, my theory is bet the break the season, but the schedule's horrid. So maybe you bet. So I have nothing. Like I don't know. If the schedule was better, I would be all over Ottawa, but it's not. So
it's tough for you.
Let's game.
Well, let's jump to the team that Ottawa's facing in week 1, and the Rough Riders. This team is 1 year of experience with Mace. He had a great start last season. Kind of trickled down. Had a really rough patch there in the middle. Kind of rounded it out towards the end again. And then the playoffs, if they didn't have home field, the West let Winnipeg win. So you gave Winnipeg home field, and then you complain that Winnipeg has home field. And if Winnipeg didn't have home field, Saskatchewan likely would have been in the Grey Cup final. Now they're 1 year later, a lot more additions. I only have one real issue with this team, and that's at quarterback. I mean, I know Harris has been hurt consistently, and then you had Shea Patterson. He got shipped to Winnipeg, so you didn't have him anymore. And then you brought in Jake Mayer, who is now your QB2. I know that this preseason they were trying to figure out if they need another guy, and the 3 and the 4 and the 5th quarterbacks they were testing out were just terrible this preseason for this team. But you do get a couple guys that are pretty strong. I mean, McEwen, Rose, you get freaking Campbell back from the NFL. What's your take on this team? I know for me, I think they're the ones to win in the West.
They better. I don't understand. Why didn't you go get? You like Calgary get Vernon Adams? Like really? Like come on. Oh, Jake Mayer. Okay, okay, he's fine. Okay, the key is like this team should be the Grey Cup favorites, but we know Trevor Harris is going to get hurt. This team is loaded. Look at offensive line, defensive line, running back, wide. Like they have wide receivers. They're cutting. They're probably going to get picked up. Loaded everywhere. Like AJ Ouellette has competition. Oh, but I actually like AJ Ouellette under. I saw it this morning. I'm probably going to bet it under rush yards.
Under rushing, yeah,
because he has competition. I think
it's going to be.
I don't know if he's going to play every game. So I think and Harris likes to throw the ball. So I mean, here's the problem with Saskatchewan is that you can go and bet them to win the Grey Cup, and then they're playing Winnipeg or Edmonton or BC in the West semis or the West final, and it's Jake Mayer out there. Like, you know what I mean? And Jake Mayer, he's better than Jack Doan and Shea Patterson, but it's just like he's not, Cody Fajardo. He's not Jeremiah Masoli. He's not even Dane Evans. Or Taylor Powell. Like, I mean, he's probably outside of Calgary, he's probably the worst backup quarterback in the CFL right now. Who's the backup in Ottawa? I forget.
Crum.
Okay, he's better than Crum. But like Johnson, Emelis, Schaefer Baker, Duncan Busby's good. They're loaded. That's right. This team they got Sean McEwen. You know what I mean? Like, come on. Like this team is absolutely loaded. The D-line is disgusting. They're the best defense. They have the good coach. It's just Alfred. He might not return this year. Roland Milligan. Oh, I bet Roland Milligan MOP 40-1. A little sprinkle. Yeah, 40-1. I mean, he was the runner-up last year, wasn't he? Or he was.
No, it was Bo, but because
he was. Brady, Bo was the runner-up. He was third.
Brady won the West. Yeah, or it would have been.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, it was between Brady and Roland.
Yeah, but if Saskatchewan's in first, and Trevor Harris only plays 11 games or something, it could be I think there's a real chance that the problem is it's Calgary and they're not going to want to do it, but there's a real chance Saskatchewan trades for Vernon Adams before the end of the season, or MBT. I don't want MBT.
If Harris goes down,
or Bo or somebody, if Hamilton's no good,
they will be calling.
Yeah,
if Harris goes down, they'll be calling.
They'll be calling. I don't know what it's going to take. I don't know if that idiot Dave Dickinson's going to take the trade, but he's not an idiot, but the old fart Dave Dickinson. I don't know if he's going to accept the trade. You know what I mean? Oh, we still have a chance to make the playoffs at 1-8 or whatever they are. Brett Lothar also has competition at kicker, but I like him. I hope they keep him.
Yeah,
he's from Nova Scotia, I think. So it helps your Canadian.
You don't use a global on it. You use a Nash. Yeah, it's also helpful. Schedule wise, it's not that bad either for this team.
Yeah, no long road trips. So the problem, the one scheduled loss, I think they play Edmonton on short rest, and Edmonton's coming off a bye. That one looks bad. And then back to back on the road at Elks, at Red Blacks late in the season.
Yeah,
not the best. But they have owned the Elks.
Yeah.
But the Red Blacks are off the bye. on the second of the road trip. So that's a tough one. But other than that, they start Ottawa home at Hamilton at Toronto. Kind of tough because they historically they stink at BMO Field. Hamilton, I don't know how they play at Hamilton. I can't recall too many. But home, we know Mosaic Stadium is probably the best home field in the league. IG Field or Princess Auto Stadium, sorry, maybe. But yeah.
But I think Mosaic is one. It's definitely really tough.
So I want to bet Saskatchewan future. We're in the green. We have Elks futures. The problem is Harris. But our friends at Sports Interaction decided to put up a plus 750 for Saskatchewan in the Grey Cup, so I had to bet that.
Yeah,
I put a third of a unit on that.
Thank you.
And they also have Saskatchewan's win total at 9.5, but minus 142 ish, minus 143. And I haven't bet it yet, but it's tempting. I'm just worried. You don't want the injury to happen like week 2. So I'll probably stay with the win total. Yeah. But I'll stick. I prefer because I think they're going to make the playoffs. Because I feel like it's probably my playoffs has Winnipeg, Edmonton, and Saskatchewan in it. And then the East, I don't know. But Toronto will be in it. But the other two, I don't know who it's going to be. Toronto, Ottawa. Ottawa maybe. That schedule's hard. So, but yeah, I bet the Grey Cup plus 750 is too big of a number. Plus 750, Saskatchewan in the Grey Cup
for this team. Yeah, they
and I love their coach. I love their coach. Yeah, I wish he was a Ticats coach.
Oh, Mace.
Yeah. He's like you want to play for him. I want to play for him. Like when they're not playing Hamilton, I want to play for him from my couch. Like we're into the game. It's great. It's the best. Oh, another concern is of course the fires with the air quality.
Air qualities early on.
Yeah, but it's going to affect both teams. So
yeah, I mean it will mainly impact training and all that. I think more than game time. A lot of their games are being pushed. They even postponed yesterday's game an additional hour. I wouldn't be surprised if they do that quite a bit to have kickoffs at 8 instead of 7 in Regina, just so that the air quality drops another 2-3 elements. But I mean, Canada's burning, so it's not going to be only Regina. It's going to be.
Yeah, it's unfortunate. And in Ontario, we've had tons of rain the last month.
Yeah.
So
well, even yesterday's preseason game, Ottawa Montreal was delayed due to thunder, to lightning, for about an hour as well.
Yeah. So we wish we could share the rain with those out west, but yeah.
Let's jump to Montreal, and I have a little bit of a rant for this team. And
all right, let's go.
I mean, it goes basically like this: you gave away your quarterback for a guy who shined for a couple of games last season. I get it. Davis Alexander, 3-0 as a starter. But this kid, he's a kid, does not look like he's the quarterback this team needs. With all the weapons this team has, the biggest issue I have with this team is that they don't have a confident quarterback.
I like Davis.
You like Davis? I don't. I have seen nothing to tell me he's gonna do what they expect him to do, at least so far. And I think this Montreal team, funny enough, you were saying what are your 3 East teams? I think Montreal is the odd man out here, and I think it's because if Davis doesn't work out, you're gonna throw in Bethel Thompson, and you're done. You're done. It was the same issue when you had Evans, and he was tossing picks after pick after pick. Doesn't matter how many people protect the guy. But the saving grace is they have they were the best team last year by far.
In the regular season.
They pretty much kept the same team. They added that more of a defensive group to it. They didn't really lose that much in terms of receiver options. Let's be honest. And then
they're stacked.
From Cody to Yeah, my thing is their biggest drop was from Cody to Davis. I think maybe the real reason is just the way it went down, because it was just not expected. Like Fajardo had won you the Gary Cup, you led your team to several wins last season, being one of the best, and then you just did him dirty and tossed him to be a backup in Edmonton. Just because you didn't want to pay him, which I get it, because they have to pay their other starlets and such. So they're taking a shot on Alexander, and hopefully he pans out. I don't know. Do you see different flashes than me? You said you like him.
So I like Alexander, but he's probably gonna have growing pains at some point. But I like him. Okay, I think he's fine. I think he should be the starter. But the problem is, you got that cancer complaint department behind him in MBT, because we've seen it. He fucking took Trey Ford's job last year. You know what I mean? Like, this guy's a snake. Okay, he's a snake in the grass. If Davis plays bad, he's going to be, I feel like he's going to be, I don't care what he says. Okay, yeah, sure, he's a good interview, and, he had me convinced. But I don't want him on my team. I think he's a snake in the grass. I think if Davis has one or two bad games, he's good. If we see MBT, I don't want to see MBT in there. If I'm an Alouettes fan, if I want to see him against the Ticats, sure. He's a cancer. He's the complaint department. He complains. And guess what Montreal has? 2 5-day weeks. You know what I mean? So the schedule's bad. It's bad. It's almost BC. I think it might be the worst schedule in the week. I don't know, but you shouldn't have traded for him. I get it, Fajardo. You kind of snaked them, but Fajardo, I like. He seems like a nicer guy. He seems like less cancer than.
I think he was more of a mentor to Davis than Bethel will be.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah. I don't trust MBT. I think he's cancer, and this team is weak in the trenches. Christian Mate's retiring.
Yeah.
Okay. We've seen. I'm worried. We saw Fajardo get hurt. Fajardo gets pressured. Jason Moss has never prioritized offensive line. I think that's his biggest flaw as a head coach. You have 5 really, really good wide receivers. You telling me you couldn't have traded one for a lineman, or you couldn't have, signed I know they signed Cyril Hogan-Sandin, okay, but it's not like he's the next coming of Lane Johnson or Stanley Bryant. You know what I mean? Okay, they have a great secondary, but even their D-line, they got 4 new guys coming in. There's a bunch of depth guys. Now, hopefully one flashes, but and you have the secondary, but they're great. It's the best secondary in the league. It's the best wide receiver core in the league. Davis Alexander could be a stud. He's 3-0. He hasn't lost as a starter. Walter Fletcher returns. That's fine. I like that. But it's backup quarterback. It's offensive line. It's defensive line. Even head coach. And David Coulter retiring is a good thing, because Maltos is now kicker 1. There's no drama there.
Yeah. You just give it to the guy who finished.
Yeah, Beverin Sankey are great. Like I said, the defensive back was great, but it's just that cancer, man. McLeod, Bethel, Thompson bothers me. The schedule's bad. I'll go through it here.
Yeah, he's gonna be.
So you get the Argos at home. You get the Argos at home in your revenge game, right? Hopefully you win that. But then back to back on the road at Ottawa, at Edmonton, at Hamilton. Lots of travel there.
Yeah.
Bye week 6 through 18, that's fine. But again, 2 back-to-back 6-day rest roadies, week 2 and 3, week 15, 16. And then 2 5-day rest spots. Now, one is a back-to-back with Ottawa, so it's not the worst because both teams will be. But one of them is you got to go from BC all the way home to play Montreal, the longest flight in the CFL.
Yeah.
On 5-day rest. Oh, the complete department's going to be in on that one. I would be sure. He's got to make a comment. You know what I mean? Yeah. I hope he plays in those games. Especially, it's just, it's awful. I don't know if they intentionally gave them that schedule because McLeod was on the team. I don't know.
I don't know.
I hadn't bet it yet, but I was looking at under 10.5 right before the show started. I think I'm going to bet it. 10.5. It's a bad schedule. All the other East teams are good. Montreal travels almost as much as they don't travel as much as BC because there's not as much distance between Montreal, Toronto, Hamilton, but they still got it's still a longer flight than it is from Toronto, Hamilton, or Ottawa.
And you face Winnipeg too.
They're a week to week team in terms there's definitely Montreal spots on the schedule, definitely. But it's an unknown. It's not an unknown. I like Davis, like I said, but it's somewhat of an unknown at quarterback. I don't want to doubt them because they have such good players, wide receiver, such good players in the secondary. I don't trust their coach. I never have.
No. You never
any coach that doesn't prioritize the offensive line, in my opinion,
it's not good. Yeah. That's why you like him.
He's fine. Dinwiddie does prioritize the offensive line. Yeah,
I know.
So
that's why his team wins Grey Cups.
Exactly. And Montreal won a Grey Cup. It was good. But they used their strength. Wide receivers.
Them winning it, exactly. Or was it the Bombers blowing it last?
The Bombers kind of played into Montreal's strength in the second half. You know what I mean?
And again, that's 2 seasons ago. But they did follow it up with the best season last year. So
also, don't forget the horn ban.
Oh, that's right. The horns are gone. The horns are gone. So do they lose a little bit of an edge in Percival?
No, I heard the guys who do the horns, only a few guys, and what I heard they found some other noisemakers. So we're gonna find some. I think it's ridiculous. It's stupid.
I think so too.
It's what, 9 games a season. Okay, there's 81 games, right? So you have 9 games in every city, 9 teams, and really. They
complain because of the broadcast. That's really what.
Who cares? You can mute the TV if you don't like it. Put on some music.
Figure it out, TSN. Find a way to mute their horn as a sound effect.
Move the camera or something. I didn't bet it yet, but I will bet under 10. When I heard from you, I said, okay, I wanted to talk to you about this one because I wasn't sure. Because like I said, there's very, very good players: Austin Mack, Sneed, Davis. The defensive backs, Beverett, Sankey, Duquois. I'm gonna bet it. The week in the trenches, bad schedule, and cancer backup quarterback under 10.5, minus 113 for Alouettes for me. Sorry, I love Alouette Central on Instagram. He interacts with all our posts. But sorry.
It's got to be that way. Hey, man. It is what it is. Let's jump to the Grey Cup hosts and Winnipeg Blue Bombers. Now, this is a bit of a transition year, I think, for the Bombers. Maybe it's the end of the road for this kind of dynasty that's been around pretty much since Colaros moved to this team in 2019. There hasn't been a better football team across the CFL in the 2020s than this team. Aside from the wins in the Grey Cup, maybe Toronto's been a bit better. But they got absolutely wrecked in the free agency. A lot of their guys, obviously, we talked about it being poached by their former staff members, now GM of the Ticats. So you saw a lot of those guys. You saw some of their starlets actually just go down south. So you had guys like Ontario Wilson that kind of just broke out into this squad last season, became easily the second best receiver at times, while Schoen was injured. Then you lost Lawler. So now you're really your receiving core is a little kind of weak. You lost Ford, who was a big presence there. You brought some running back security and some specialty there, and Logan can run your special teams as well, or return punts and such. But this team, I still see them on paper. I still think they're one of the best coached, if not the best coached team. I know during the Grey Cup, Shea had a little bit of an issue there, but his team was dying. His team was battered. What was he to do? If Streveler doesn't get hurt last season, do they have a better ending to that Grey Cup? Maybe. And for me, overall, I think this team is going to be in contention. Obviously, they want to be at that Grey Cup game because they are hosting it. It all matters to me. It's whether can they finish first to gain the West advantage. Because I don't think they make it back to the Grey Cup if they don't play in Winnipeg. And that's my
It
biggest
depends
thing.
where they play.
Oh, yes. If they play in BC, no problem.
Or Edmonton, but if they go to Saskatchewan, I think it's over. Yeah. Unless it's Jake Mayer.
Exactly. Unless it's Jake Mayer.
So yeah, the Bombers, 10.5 juice to the end. I can only bet the over. I mean, they've won 11 games the last 5 years. I mean, I think it's kind of disrespectful, this number, a little bit. I mean, Grey Cup is plus 550. They're hosting it.
Yeah.
They're hosting the Grey Cup. They could have 3 home games. We know what they do on the playoffs at home. They don't lose. You know, they've won how many straight at home in the playoffs? You know, at least 5, right? Probably, yeah, because they won the West 5 straight years. They won 5 straight at home in the playoffs. So against some pretty good team. Some of them were not the best, but I mean, Saskatchewan last year was a pretty good team. BC, the first couple of Rourke years, is a pretty good team.
Yeah.
And they won those games. They know how to win when it matters. They started 0-4, 2-5 last year, and they turned it around. They have a good coach. He's probably the best coach in the CFL. They lost some guys. Oh, Caleros is suspended for game 1 because the CFL is run by a bunch of whatever. I gotta rant to this. This is one of your known quarterbacks. He's been there forever. CFL star. You don't suspend him for something dumb like that. Oh, he missed the text. Come on. And he's notorious for doing this. I've heard that he has him and his kids have no phone policies for certain parts of the day or certain days.
Yeah.
So come on. The guy, really? You're going to suspend Zach Caleros? You want more eyes on the CFL? You're going to suspend one of your star quarterbacks who's been in the Grey Cup, you know what I mean, last 3-4 years? Come on. This is a joke. It's a complete joke. It'll likely be Strevler week 2 against. They have the week 1 bye. That's not great. They lost a bunch of guys. They get Dylan Mitchell. I like Dylan Mitchell. I like Peyton Logan return / running back. There's some sneaky pickups here. Vaughters, Jonathan Joe. These are sneaky pickups. They know what Stearns. He was good in Saskatchewan for a bit. Big Hill's gone. That's sad. So that linebacker's a question mark, but they'll figure it out as the season goes along. I'm not worried about Winnipeg. Like I said, the schedule is no long road trips. There is 6 short weeks with travel, so that's a little bit of a problem. But it's a veteran team. They have Stanley Bryan. It's the best left tackle.
No big
deal. Yeah, I might play over 10.5 here. They played Calgary 3 times, so what, I need 8 wins. You know what I mean? They could sweep BC. I mean, Edmonton early at home. They'll probably split with the Argos. I'm just going down the schedule here. Red Blacks on a short. That's tough. But, I mean, the week before you're in Calgary, I mean, it's not the worst.
And then they get Alouettes on the bad show. Get the Alouettes on that.
Yeah, we get 7 days. Yeah. Back-to-back with Saskatchewan. You probably split. Hamilton's a tough one on 6 days.
Right?
Yeah, one's the Banjo. The other one is the rematch. Or the Labor Day. And then, then you go to Hamilton. That's probably that Hamilton game is probably a loss. They don't play well in Hamilton. That's off back-to-backs against Saskatchewan. Sure, that's probably a bet the Tie-Cat spot there. But then you get 8 days to play Ottawa and Ottawa. Hamilton revenge there. Edmonton, Saskatchewan. Look, they play Saskatchewan at home to end the season. That could be all of a sudden 11 wins where we're hosting.
Yeah, it could actually be the decider.
Yeah, it's. I know I bet Saskatchewan Grey Cup. But 550. It's kind of disrespectful a little bit to the team who's been there 5 straight years. And like 10.5. I probably just like the 10.5 wins a little bit better because I do think I have Edmonton schedule. I don't want to bet too many teams win the Grey Cup, but I do think Winnipeg, if they don't win the West, will not make the Grey Cup. If they have to go to Edmonton, if they have to go to Saskatchewan, it's going to be trouble, especially Saskatchewan, unless it's like I said, unless Harris is hurt. This turnover, this age, but like, how did they not win 11 here? I mean, the Stamps, okay, they beat them once last year, but they could win that first one. That's the concern. They could win that. Was that July 3rd game before the bye? But then
they can easily win the first 2 Lions games too. And
exactly, like
2, 5. If you count the Stamps, you split with the Argos 6, split with the Ticats 7. Probably win one of the Rough Riders. It's 8. You probably win the Alouettes long trip.
You probably win the Elks early. That's 10. And then the last game against the Alouettes, that's a toss-up. But like if you win like one of these like toss-ups against the Riders or one of the games against the Red Blacks, if you win a second game, I don't know if they win the second game against Edmonton, but maybe they do. It is kind of hard. I'm going to stay off because they are getting worse, but like there are certain spots where it's like if Winnipeg loses to Calgary, then they go on bye and they play them again, they're going to kill them. You know what I mean? Like there's going to be spots where it's just like last year. Remember, everyone and their mother was betting BC, and we're like, no, this is the Winnipeg spot here, and we're going to be ballsy and take it. I have a pretty good read on the Bombers week to week, so I'll just stay off. They've made me they've been one of the teams I've had a really good read on last year. So unlike the Stamps, so. Oh, you're muted. Oh, your mic died, maybe. All right, well, while Jason figures that out, the final team is the Argos. Their win total, you can get 10.5, you can get 11.5. I don't like this team, but this team is probably the best team in the CFL. Their O-line's ridiculous. Their D-line is just as good, if not, they're not better, but they have the best run game in the CFL. Their coach is flippy-floppy. They've won the Grey Cup 2 of the last 3 years.
He's not flippy.
Sometimes he's good, and sometimes he goes and hides in a corner. Cameron Judge, I like that. Kevin Brown, I like that. Like it's Argos football, man. I mean, they've won the Grey Cup last 2 or 3 years, and they're 16-2 the other season.
It's the Argos world, and you're just living in it.
Yeah, but they couldn't beat Hamilton last year, so
they couldn't. They can't. Hamilton, something about the water there, maybe. I don't know. Let's just say if Hamilton finds a way to get a crossover, who knows? Might be the Achilles heel. And most watch Grey Cup, who knows?
In Winnipeg? Yeah.
Nuts. Overall, go ahead.
Hamilton, that would have to be like Hamilton, Edmonton. They're not going to Saskatchewan winning. So it'd have to be like Saskatchewan, Harris got hurt. It'd be wild.
Yeah, it would be. Can you imagine Hamilton taking a crossover trip? That'd be crazy. Could be. I mean, the East is that good. That's the thing. The East is just that much better than the West. And they've proven it the last 2 seasons. And this team is one of them. This team has lost their defensive core back-to-back seasons, and I think they're going to have no issues this season as well.
Really?
Yeah, I think this team just knows how to plug in the holes. They've done a great job at drafting. They've done a great job at recruiting. To be fair, I believe the Argos have an advantage in being able to recruit Americans. People just know where Toronto is, mostly.
not Chris Collinsworth.
That's right, but that kind of piece. And then I think the biggest win here is that the CFL just loves the Argos and gives them the best schedule. You know.
Yeah, this is like, I mean, 6-14. Okay, that's week 21 bye, so that's not great. That's the one thing that they got back.
Yeah.
But no long road trips, no 5-day turnarounds, a couple of 6 days with travel, but it's the best schedule in the CFL. Okay, I think it's going to be Arbuckle week 1.
Yeah.
I don't think Kelly's playing for 1-2 weeks here, maybe more.
No, I think he debuts against the Ticats likely. I think he's taking a
Yeah, because I mean, I don't think you bring him back to you probably beat Calgary without him. I think you probably just take your wounds against Montreal. That feels like a Montreal spoiler for Wednesday, but it feels like a Montreal spot. Yes, they lost Mechie, Amos. They lost Serezna. They kept is it McDuffie? What's his name? McMillan. Traquan McMillan, right? Yes, okay. The special teams are good.
Yeah.
The one weakness you could say is wide receiver.
Yeah,
it's not great. Yeah, they added Mayala. Coxie Daniels, I think, are like okay. And yeah, Polk's the big one. But just like last year, I said this last year, I think it's the same thing this year. Kelly comes back. If Polk comes back too, you know what I mean? Like, and the Argos are like simmering around 500. That's when you bet them to win the Grey Cup, like I did last year.
Yeah.
I think it's the same play. Don't touch it. I can only bet under 11.5 or 10.5 with juice. Like, it's too high. They only won 10 games last year. It's an easy schedule, but you have quarterback concerns. The East is a little bit better.
Yeah.
Everybody's better except Calgary. Maybe BC. I don't know. And Montreal, who knows there. But like, Montreal's still gonna be okay. So, yeah, that's a high total. I'm not betting under. I'm not betting over. I'll probably at some point bet the Argos to win the Grey Cup again. Unfortunately, maybe after they lose Labor Day or something.
What about the Hamilton series?
Wynton McManus, that's his name.
Yeah.
I have it written down here. Yeah, the Argos are good. Okay, they have the best O-line in the CFL. You know, if their coach doesn't get in the way, cut Dukes, please. That Horn guy looks pretty good.
Bring him
even their fourth string quarterback looks really good. Like, this team is just Pinball Clements knows what the fuck he's doing. I hate it, but they're a good team.
One team under the branch of MLSC has to do something. Okay, we've been let down by every other MLSC team.
No. I think every MLSC team's won recently, except the Leafs. Oh, and the Blue Jays, I guess. But they're Rogers. They're
Blue Jays are Rogers. Yeah.
Yeah. So every MLSC's won in the last 10 years, except the Maple Leafs. And they took Florida to 7, and then they did their usual shitting the bed. But we don't want to bring up old wounds.
So you kind of want to just stay off any of these wins.
I would only bet under. There's an 11.5 available, minus 130 out there. I think it's at Bet365.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's the Argos. I'm not fading them. I mean, they have Chad Kelly. They have who's the MOP favorite. You know what I mean? They have the best offensive line. They have best running game. Good D line. Okay, the secondary might be their weakness, but they find ways to fill these things. Cam Judge coming over from Calgary. I know they lose Ormalade, but they couldn't pay him anyways, so they got something for him.
Yep.
And again, if Polk comes back, come on. I mean, that's their wide receiver 1. I don't know if he comes back. He's very good. He's definitely better than that other Polk in New England there. He's a bum so far. He's a rookie. Maybe he matures. But
Unberger had some flashes. And
I like Unger. I like him.
Yeah, Unger. And they're also going to try out Grant at receiver. They're gonna play him a bit more.
Yeah, oh yeah, I forgot. They have Janarian Grant. Like it just gets better.
Just keeps going. And BMO Field, for some reason, is just such an advantage for these guys too. Unless you're the
Yeah, they
Ticats.
struggle on the road. 3-6 last year.
Yeah,
That's why I'm like,
they lost to Calgary on the road.
no. Didn't they come back to win?
No, I think they lost to Calgary, and then
No,
they
I
won.
think they came back to win that game.
You sure it wasn't a back-to-back? And they maybe.
Oh, they did lose. You're right. That was Calgary's last
Yeah.
win before their losing
Yes,
streak.
before their losing streak. Yeah. And then they came back and they smashed them here at home.
Oh, was that? I think that was the game. Didn't we went to hide?
Yeah. Exactly.
Oh no, maybe he went to hide the game before. I don't know. There was a game where he went to hide and we bet against him. It was like the perfect spot.
Yeah.
So yeah, Dinwiddie. He's won 2 great. But I don't know if I think it's Clemens. I think Dinwiddie is, but.
Oh yes, Clemens has definitely helped for sure. Oh wow. Well, we've just gone through the entire team, the whole list. I mean, I can run it down here, but I'll make a post with what we're thinking. But overall, for the show, we talked about for the Calgary team, we like the under at 6.5. For the Hamilton team, we like the series against the Argos as our favorite bet there. And I think you're sprinkling some of the 3-0, right?
Yeah, small. Just because I don't think it happens again, but it happened last year, and it shouldn't be plus 1,500. Something that happened the year before.
Yeah. For the Elks, we have a lot of options there. We like the over there, both 7 and there's I think you juiced it up to 8.5 because you get a
So I made an 8 basically. So if it lands 8, I push. I bet 7.5, and then whatever I would win off the 7.5. I went and I bet that on 8.5. So if it hits 8, I push. If they win 9, I win. So it comes to minus 124 ish for over 8. Basically, I made my own 8 to cut the juice down.
And then you also like him for the Grey Cup at 22 because it's just a flat out ridiculous number.
It's a dumb number. It's a dumb number. Yeah.
Since FanDuel just tossing free cash there potentially. And then you also had Mathis props. Props? No, you had.
Well, Mathis will be week to week.
Week to week.
Week to week. I like some. If we can find him at a book, I will probably bet some touchdowns. When I like the Elks, I don't know about week 1, but yeah. We'll see. I'll watch. But he's big. He's a big guy. He's going to be on the field in the red zone.
Yeah, and then you like the series win and the 3-0 there against.
Oh yeah.
Like easy, plus 500 on the 3-0 there.
Plus 500, sweep the stamps again.
And then we go to the Lions here. We talked about some small number here, but under on the 9.5. It's going to be really dependent on Rourke and how he performs, but schedule is really tough. It's going to be hard to get to 10 wins with this team. Then we jump to Ottawa. Here we like the wins here, and if you're betting Ottawa to do much, it's to win the division here as potential.
I passed on Ottawa. I passed.
You passed.
Officially. Yes. You like the wins, I think. Yeah.
I like the win. And you suggested the division if I like the wins. For Saskatchewan, you like a couple of things here. The Grey Cup number offered by Sports Interaction. Highest one around, it's 750. The win totals as well, 9.5. And then
I'm gonna stay off. I don't want to lay juice on a team. Yeah. I don't want to lay juice on a team with injury concerns. I'd rather take the plus money and hope they aim for the high, because I think if they do host the West Final, they will win it.
Yeah. And then we like AJ Ouellette under on rushing.
Under, I think it's 1,500 or something.
Shared office there, and then the 40-1 on the roll-in MOP.
Yeah,
guy was
a small bet, sprinkle.
Yeah, sprinkle. And then rounding it up, we have Montreal again. A tough schedule. Thinking the only play there is an under on totals if you're going to play it. And then Winnipeg, same thing. They shouldn't be priced at 550 for the Grey Cup. But if you're a Bombers fan, it's a great number to take. And then the over on the wins there, also something you can imagine, you can look at. I don't think it's the official on this show, But
Yeah, last
it
two
is
teams passed.
on the pass, yeah. So really, if you like the green teams, you're gonna like our bets. And
I
if you
like the
like
green.
if you and then yeah, pretty much it's the green teams. It's the green. That's where the futures lie. It's in Edmonton and Saskatchewan. Sprinkle some fun with Hamilton, and Calgary is just god awful. So take the under. They
Yeah,
might
my
not win
best bet
four.
is Calgary under 6.5 wins, plus 124. Should be, I think they're going to win 4 games, maybe. That's the
Maybe.
best bet. I also like Edmonton to win the series, but it's minus 160, so I didn't want to give that out as best bet. I want to give you a nice
Yeah.
plus money number. So plus 124,
Yeah.
that is the future best
That's-
bet. Calgary under 6.5 wins. So when they start 7-0, we can all laugh at me.
Because that's what's gonna happen, right? That's just what's gonna happen.
Yeah. If they win week 1, I'm not too concerned because I counted that as one of their 4 wins. So.
Yeah. But you're gonna have Dave Dickinson in your DMs.
Oh, Dave Dickinson in my back pocket to start, pulling some Babcock shit. I can feel it. Like what came out last year, players complaining, you kicked out the 2 vets except for Bagleton, you know what I mean, who you can't really get rid of. So, because you're paying him a lot. But you got rid of the ones you could. Fresh meat for him to bully is what I kind of feel like it is. So, under 6.5, yeah.
Let's go. I think if they start pretty horrible, I agree with your prediction that if Harris does get hurt, Saskatchewan get on that phone, call VA up.
Yeah, just pay for him. I mean, your team is so
lock it
good.
in.
I know you're gonna have to pay extra because it's Calgary and they don't like you, but it's worth the Grey Cup.
Exactly. Toss the other Rourke back to
Calgary.
Calgary.
It might happen. I was considering they could trade the rights to Rourke plus a first.
Yeah, that's it. You're good. Oh man. Okay, well, Pieguy, 2 hours to start. Yeah, it was done.
2 hours of futures.
2 hours of futures. No one else has done it on, at least on YouTube. I haven't seen anyone. So if you guys are checking it out, we will be here again next week on Wednesday with the first regular season week. Week 1, we'll be talking about the games, the slate there. We'll provide you sort of our breakdowns week by week. You're going to see sort of our record splattered throughout our social media handles here. They're actually just dropped below this diagram here. If you win or tag along with us, it'd be great if you share with us your victories. We're always happy to see that. We're really just here to have fun. We kind of have 3 principles here. Where you kind of just stay true to yourself. Don't overbet. We can't bet. Have fun while having the bets. Don't stress the games too much. You're just there to have fun. Don't bet ridiculous amounts if you can't.
Bankroll management. Bankroll man. Don't
Number 1.
hammer these futures like they're futures.
Yeah.
You want to put something on them because it's fun. Maybe you find a game during the season you don't really like, but you have the future to cheer for, right? So it's
exactly.
It's good value, the futures, in terms of you can bet $100 on a win total, and then you have 18 games where that bet kind of lingers, right? Or maybe smaller. You can bet smaller if you want to, right? Small.
Yep.
Bet in your means.
Exactly. Just control it and have fun. With that, we are going to conclude it here. It's going to be a great season. We're looking forward to seeing you guys next week. Hit us up.
And one more note.
Yeah.
One more note. Just the show will either be on Wednesday or Thursday, depending on the schedule and our schedules. Because if there's no Thursday game, or we might move it to Thursday, or if the Thursday game's later, 9:00, but it'll be primarily Wednesday or Thursday.
Yeah. It'll move around. But we'll keep you posted on any official changes. But till then, guys, take care. Have fun. Let's go, Canada.
Yeah.
Cheers.
Another season. Let's go. June tomorrow.
Yeah. Woo.